What's happening, folks? Back with another reaction, back with some more Big Country, and we're back with what I assume is a B-side. At the very least, it's one of the bonus tunes included in the expanded folder for their 1986 album, The Seer. Shout out to Han Solo. The other bonus tunes appear to be different versions or remixes of the album tracks. As far as I can tell, this is the only non-album tune, so again, I assume we're dealing with a B-side for one of the singles. It's called Giant. Obviously, that can be both a noun and an adjective. In either case, it's referring to something that, relative to other entities similar in character or class, is much larger than normal. It is massive. So again, whether you're referring to a living creature or to some non-living object, ultimately something that is giant is it dwarfs other similar types of things. So I wonder what we're dealing with here. It's an interesting starting point, but it's a single word title. Those are forever hard to read, inevitably hard to read, because there's no context, no surrounding phrasing. So let's see what I can catch on a first listen. This is Big Country. The tune is Giant, and I assume it is a B-side from one of the singles from their 1986 album, The Seer. Got those rolling drums again, but then back to a more stripped down percussion scheme. Already I'm wondering if it's an instrumental. Oof, now the guitar. I like the blend of guitars. Drums as fireworks? Like every level of guitar work possible. Sometimes they sound like there has to be like 10 members or something. schemes as it went along, the different types of guitar works at some points layered on top of each other, the sort of cycling shuffle drum rhythm during different parts, which again, sort of a marching quality, although in this case, part of like a larger percussion evolution and less singularly sort of a marching rhythm as in some of the tunes I remember hearing early on. So I don't know, maybe it's a tune designed to give Stewart a break during, concerts, and, just a lot of groups will do that. They'll have an instrumental or a tune where the second singer of the group, deliberately sort of in the middle of the show, so the singer can just, take a moment, get a drink, like refresh. But that's a really crazy sonic immersive tune, and one that ultimately, it speaks to a lot of the big country sonics I've come to know, but I don't know if I've ever heard them configured that intensely and in that particular way. Like, it felt big country, but less so than when I say that about some of their other tunes. It really felt like, they were pushing the envelope in terms of, again, like there's parts there where it's like, man, like how many members do they have? You're sure it's not 12? Are you sure it's not like 15 people? Because it's such a dense sound at times where it's like, man. So yeah, another cool tune, even if, I do get why this is a B-side or like a non-album track. It's, number one, it's an instrumental. Not to say that you don't hear instrumentals on albums, certainly you do, but less commonly than sung tunes, I would say. And ultimately, it's one that has a bit of a, let's just kind of go to, maybe not the extreme, but let's follow our sound like farther than we normally would. It feels like a tune where you're trying to be a bit experimental, even if you're in your sonic lane. So either way, a top track, really cool to hear. Another instrumental, and I swear, like sometimes with the title speculations, which look, that's just the way I engage with music, so I'll always do it, but it's always funny like now because I'm aware there's this lingering thought in the back of my head, it could be an instrumental, it could be entirely conceptual, but even then I don't think it's terrible to think about the word or the phrase even if it is instrumental, because sometimes there are sonic elements or cues that perhaps speak to whatever the word or phrase is. So in this case, I'm not sure, like I know how to place that, at least on this first listen where it was more just kind of being overwhelmed by the sonics and impressed, again, the drum work, like the sense of rhythm. It's, I, as someone who mixes techno and, has a very clear sense of, measures and bars and ultimately, idiosyncratic flourishes, but that are still within the, like, rhythmic framework, I have a decent sense of rhythm, but, like, brains that can conceive and perform rhythms like we heard here, in terms of percussion and drumming, it's, it's operating on a level, like, beyond what my brain can do creatively. I can certainly appreciate it, but, yeah, the drumming, very impressive, the guitar work, very impressive. So yeah, top tune, even if again it makes sense that it's a B-side or non-album track. I'll stop wasting your time, but shout out to all the big country people. I always appreciate the patience, and every time I come back around there's always interesting comments, enthusiastic support, so big shout out to you once again. Let me know what you think of this one. I will see you next time. Peace.